We're back, people, and today we're breaking film on Zach Wilson, Miami Dolphins' newest backup quarterback. I know people are there's definitely going to be mixed feelings about this. I've seen most people definitely not liking the signing, like hating it, and then some people actually really liking it. I'm more in the camp, like when I first saw it, I was just like, meh. I went back and watched the film. The Jets film, obviously, very rough. Definitely, that was going to be the case. I think for most of the quarterbacks that you're going to sign, that's why I'm like not super unhappy about it. It's just like there wasn't really any backups out there that excited me anyways. Like I think there were some better options to go with, and I think there were some worse options. I think the positives that you can take from it, like we'll start with the positives, is one, he looked way more comfortable in the Broncos preseason, like as at the quarterback position, than he ever looked playing for the Jets. So maybe some time. Sometimes guys develop at different pace. He was, the second overall pick not that long ago. He's still pretty young. So that's like an upside thing that's potentially there, maybe compared to some other quarterbacks, other than taking like maybe an aging veteran where there's not really any upside there. I do think he's still a better option than what they've had over the last, couple years at backup quarterback. He's obviously pretty athletic and has an insane like arm talent. But other than that, like there's definitely weaknesses to his game. Like I don't think he's got great decision making and like processing. Like he does not have the anticipation of Tua. I do think he's a good scheme fit, but he does lack that anticipation. But he makes up for it with his arm strength. Other areas, I think pocket presence is something that he is not very strong with. Like he takes too many sacks, and then he'll wow you with some throws that like are like insane, and then he'll go out there and then throw like a very dumb pass that leads to an interception, or just take a really bad sack. But at the end of the day, I just look at it as like, the deal, I wish it was a little bit less, but there also was other quarterbacks getting paid a lot more that I don't think were like really better than him. But yeah, so Zach, good scheme fit that was getting praise from the Broncos camp, like during training camp, during preseason. The Broncos were actually pretty high on him, and maybe he's learned some stuff. I think that's kind of like the direction of where it could potentially work out for you. But at the end of the day, I don't think many of the backup quarterbacks would make a huge difference. I think if your backup quarterback has to play more than a handful of games, the Dolphins season is not looking good anyways. So Sean Payton somehow fixed him because he looked solid throughout. Like here he is, making another layered throw here over the secondary. Like he's reading this defender right here. This defender squeezed down just enough. If he doesn't gain depth, you're throwing this dig behind it. Identify the coverage. He sees where this is happening right now. Boom. Throw it over the top in between this window, which is something you have to be able to do if you're playing within the Dolphins system. So those are like kind of the splash throws that you're going to see. And then it's just him going through from your right, doesn't like what he sees here, come back to the left, find the middle of the field open. This is just like, he shows like good balance. Like he's got like good balance in the pocket, good feet. The feet are tied with his eyes, which is just not something I saw at all in his Jets film. So that's kind of like the reason I feel some sort of optimism. It's not a lot, but there's some sort of like, oh, he's shown some, improvement going from the Jets to the Broncos. And Mike McDaniel's probably hoping that he can unlock that and take advantage of it and maybe actually have something real there, at least as a backup. And then you got like the Jets stuff going on. Like this is probably the throw of his career, like just, off platform, off script. Just insane arm talent. Like that's the stuff that he can flash, obviously, that you're really trying to unlock. It's just the consistency level of him making decisions, because you'll see some of the bad stuff here in a second. Right here we got, this is actually I think one of the good throws. This is actually similar to that one play I just showed where the layered throw, he's reading number 7. He sees number 7 get widened out. He's gonna throw it into this window. I think he does a good job too with his like shoulders. And then boom, timing to move 7 out of the way, and then hit that layered throw in between the second and third level of the defense. Similar to what you would do in Miami. These are the types of throws that I think he's capable of making. Obviously, as the physical talent, it's just becoming more consistent at it. And those were probably his best throws on the film. That especially that those fit within Miami. But here, just straight pass, drop pass back, and sometimes I feel like he just doesn't see what's happening. Like right over the middle of the field, he thinks maybe this linebacker is going to get wide and he's going to try to hit this throw, and he literally just throws it right to Matt Milano. I mean, I don't even know what he was thinking. That's sort of the thing. I mean, he does go out there and, hey, he throws his body into Milano. I mean, I got to respect at least the tackle. It makes some insane throws. Decent enough job avoiding pressure. I don't think it was insane pocket presence. But him rolling to his left, squaring back up, kind of resetting and throwing off balance like that to make that throw, that's where like you're hoping that you can somehow develop the other part of his game, because he can do stuff like that. But then he can also make mistakes like this, escape the pocket, try to do something, have limited vision. I feel like he doesn't have great peripheral vision. He just gets locked onto things at times. Like here, he sees this guy, so he's like, oh, this guy's just gonna be here, no threat. I'm gonna try to throw it to him, get open. But he doesn't realize that this guy can just peel off and get in the lane, and he throws a pick. That's kind of something he struggles with. But it's stuff like this off play action. Play action, he doesn't have the timing or anticipation that Tua does, but the reason he can still get the ball there on time is because he can zip it there a little bit harder. But this is like something that you would definitely do in Miami. Play action, hit the back foot, release the ball over the middle of the field with timing, accuracy, hit your guy right in stride, and then Wilson's able to turn that into a touchdown. And then you have plays like this where he gets locked on, especially when he was on the Jets, man. Like, he never went through reads on the Jets. The Broncos film is definitely why I was like, oh, there's a little something there to work with. Got to give him credit for at least developing. I know it's the preseason, so I'm taking it all with a grain of salt, but at least there's something there where I could see them liking it. But man, when he's on the Jets, he just stares down, look at Robert Spillane, just read it the whole way, and then get that interception. Just getting locked on. Poor decisions, maybe poor eye discipline and processing, and that turns into an interception. And that's something that I just think happens a little too often with Wilson. But I would say, off the play action where he has time in the pocket, I think this is something like he struggled. At BYU, he had like all the time in the world. All the time in the world. So I don't think he was used to the pressure. But when he has time created off the play action, he does a good job. He slides in left here. I like the subtle slide left to give yourself a better throwing lane to then hit the guy going there. Obviously, he's going to hold on to the ball longer than Tua will. So that's kind of a big difference within their games. And then he'll just do stuff like this, man. Like, gets kind of locked on. Eyes go straight to where he goes. This middle of the field safety reads it, now has the range to get over the top. Ball is out late, and it gets picked off down the field. Just areas he 100% needs to improve. And then also, he just takes bad sacks. Like, sometimes, like right here, here's a few examples of them where he just doesn't feel the pressure. Because like right here, he could have potentially stepped up in this pocket, maybe escaped out to the right, or done something. At least give an attempt to escape the pressure. Like, I'm not blaming him for getting pressured quickly, but at least, feel it. He doesn't feel it at all, and then Bosa's all over him. Other guys get on top of him too. And then sometimes he just try to do too much. Like, they're on him quickly. Like, I mean, this is with the Dolphins game. This is the Bradley Chubb sack. They're on him quickly. He tries to avoid, and instead of like throwing the ball into the dirt at your running back, knowing that you have a running back potentially there, he's a young player. He tries to spin too much, get out of it, and then he gets crushed and then fumbles from Bradley Chubb. I don't think it's a completely horrible move, but I don't love it either, so it's not one I'm going to be super sad about. I think the worst part about it is they forced me to go back and watch a bunch of Zach Wilson Jets film, which was awful to watch. But so if you guys have a video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe,